Well, it's the ultimate double-edged sword, being one of those debates. It's scary as hell because you realize that you're holding dynamite in your hands. You could false move here, false move there. You could affect who's the next president of the United States. The president of the United States is the single most powerful person in the world. Every time I've done 11 of these debates, and I've never ever lost sight of what this is. It's not a television show. This isn't about me showing off. It's about those two or those three candidates having an opportunity to explain what they believe and exchange the views and be on the same stage at the same time talking about things that matter. I couldn't care less what the format is, whether it's a sit-down format or a stand-up format, whether it's some kind of, there's never really been an open format. Everybody talks about the Lincoln-Douglas debates. The Lincoln-Douglas debates, they were a series of speeches. Each one had an opening statement of an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then a response for another hour. And but as I say, and a lot of, you also got to remember about a presidential debate, it's not just the words that are spoken, it's the body language as well. There are many examples. Gore versus George W. Bush in first debate in 2000, where Gore on a cutaway shot was sighing and, you know, showing his annoyance and all of that, hurt him badly. The last debate that I moderated in 2008 with between Barack Obama and John McCain, where McCain would not look or talk directly to Obama, fairly or unfairly, criticized McCain for that, and it hurt him. H.W. Bush is looking at his watch like he was bored, you know, getting when this thing going to be over and all that stuff. These things, but basically, it isn't about messing up. It isn't about a huge faux pas. It's about whether you feel comfortable with this person. What do you think? Because most people, by the time they watch a presidential debate, if they're that interested, they already know the basic issues. They're not going to get any new information in a debate. They want to take the measure of these two people or these three people. And the measure includes whether you like them or not, or whether you respect them or not, or whether you trust them or not. And that's a subtle thing that goes way beyond what your position is on nuclear disarmament. Unless I've done something really awful, and I haven't really done something that I feel was that terrible. So I'm, for the most part, when it's all said and done, I feel exhilarated by the process, and I feel proud of what I've done, and I feel honored and privileged to have done it. 9-10 years ago, Paul and I got to talking about, Paul knew about my interest in buses, and he said, well, you know about the Greyhound Museum up in Hibbing, Minnesota, which is where Greyhound got its start, with the Masaba Transportation Company and all of that. And I said, yeah, I knew about the museum, and I don't know if I've ever been there, no. And so anyhow, we talked about, well, someday when Kate and I came to Minnesota, that Joanne and Paul would, the four of us would go up there and see the museum. Well, it didn't happen. It's now happening. Kate is not with me. Joanne is gone. So Paul and I are going with some friends from the University of Minnesota Libraries, and I'm going to get a special tour of the museum. Now, this museum has got old buses that have been completely refurbished and painted, and bus drivers' cap badges, toy buses, and a lot of paper stuff, you know, like tickets and all of that. And it's about the history of Greyhound, how it got started up in that part of the world. And I'm really looking forward. It's going to be great fun. In the 1950s, I went to a little junior college in South Texas, a place called Victoria. And I worked at night as a ticketing agent in the Trailways bus depot. And one of my duties, first time I was paid money speaking a microphone, one of my duties was to call the buses on a PA system. And this is what I did. May I have your attention, please? This is your last call for Continental Trailways, 8:10 p.m. Silverside's air-conditioned through liner to Houston. Now leaving from lane 1 for Inez, Edna, Ganado, Louise, El Campo, Pierce, Wharton, Hungerford, Kendleton, Beasley, Rosenberg, Richmond, Sugar Land, Stafford, Missouri City, and Houston. All aboard! Don't forget your baggage, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for your time.
My pleasure. My pleasure.